Two details. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi stressed Egypt's full solidarity and full support to Jordan in facing all kinds of terrorism and extremist groups that target security and stability of Jordan. This came during a phone call held by President el-Sisi with Jordan's King Abdullah II bin Hussein, who expressed his appreciation for this support. He also hailed the deep historical relations between Egypt and Jordan, the two countries. The phone call tackled current developments in Palestine, especially the efforts exerted to reach ceasefire in Gaza Strip and access of humanitarian aid. The two leaders also discussed the developments in the West Bank. Both leaders stressed their total rejection of any attempts to displace the Palestinians from the lands and affirmed the necessity of establishing a Palestinian independent state with East Jerusalem as its capital as the only guarantee to achieve stability in the region. The phone call also reviewed means of boosting bilateral relations and fields of joint cooperation which achieves the interests of both countries and enhances the strategic partnership between the two countries. Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli stressed that the government has achieved an important progress in the file of enhancing the industry as well as providing facilitations of establishing industrial institutions. The Prime Minister's remarks came during an inspection Saturday of a number of factories in the 10th of Ramadan city. Madbouli said Egypt's progress in the industrial sector represented a fundamental achievement on the path to achieving the state's goals of localization of various industries. The Prime Minister praised the tangible developments the state had witnessed in production and manufacturing operations, stressing the government's commitment to provide the necessary support to any factory to boost its operation and expand its investment. Pope Tawadros II, Pope of Alexandria and St. Mark Cathedral, leads an Easter Mass later on Saturday. A number of ministers, state officials, popular and executive leaders, public figures and religion men will be attending the Mass. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian expatriates Badr Abdelati lauded the recent progress in relation between Egypt and Tunisia. Abdelati made the remarks during his talks with Tunisian counterpart Mohammed al-Nafti in Tunis. The top Egyptian diplomat commended the outcome of the sixth session of the Joint Trade and Industrial Committee, which will assist in advancing economic trade and investment collaboration between the two countries and achieving their mutual benefit. Abdelati underlined the importance of benefiting from the existing joint cooperation frameworks and continuing the regular convocation of bilateral committees, most notably the Political Consultation Committee at the level of foreign ministers, as well as exploring potential trilateral collaboration in Africa. The ministers moved the successive developments in the Middle East as they exchanged views on the most prominent Arab issues, notably the Palestinian issue. In regard, Abdelati reviewed Egypt's efforts to resume the implementation of the ceasefire agreement in the Gaza Strip, which leads to claiming the situation and allowing the access of humanitarian aid into the Palestinian enclave. The two sides also tackled the Arab Islamic plan for the early recovery and reconstruction of Gaza, which ensures the Palestinians remain on their homeland. The top diplomats took up the situation in Libya, where they agreed on the necessity of supporting the Libyan solution without external interference, calling for the withdrawal of foreign forces and mercenaries in Libya, thus contributing to the restoration of security and stability. The talks addressed the updates in Syria, Sudan and Sahel region, stressing the need to foster joint cooperation in countering illegal migration and fight terrorism. Earlier, Foreign Minister Abdelati stressed Egypt's keenness on developing bilateral ties with Tunisia in different fields upon the directives of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. This came during the meeting Tunisian President Kais Saied held with Abdelati. During the meeting, Abdelati also delivered a message from President el-Sisi to the Tunisian President. Abdelati also met with senior Tunisian officials on promoting bilateral ties and cooperation. The top diplomat exchanged views and reviewed assessments with the Tunisian side on the regional crises and challenges of common concern. In addition, Abdelati met with representatives of the Egyptian community at the Egyptian embassy in Tunis. Gaza's health ministry said Saturday that Israeli strikes in Gaza have killed more than 90 people in the last 48 hours as Israeli troops ramp up attacks to pressure Hamas to release its hostages and disarm. The dead include 15 people who were killed overnight, among them women and children, some of whom were sheltering in a designated humanitarian zone. Earlier, Gaza's Civil Defense Rescue Agency said that Israeli strikes killed at least 24 people, including 10 from the same family. We have details to follow. Gaza's Civil Defense Rescue Agency said that Israeli strikes killed at least 24 people, including 10 from the same family, after Hamas signaled its rejection of Israel's latest ceasefire proposal. The Palestinian Fatah group's chief negotiator dismissed what he called Israel's partial agreements and called for a comprehensive deal to halt the 18-month-long war. Khalil al-Hayya also urged international pressure to end Israel's complete blockade of Gaza that began on March 2nd. Hamas has called for the freeing of 1,231 Palestinian prisoners from Israeli jails and the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. The appeal comes after the United Nations warned of worsening conditions and shortages of medicine and other essentials for the Palestinian territory's 2.4 million besieged people. Gaza's civil defense spokesman Mahmoud Basal said that crews had recovered the bodies of 10 martyrs and a large number of wounded from the house of the Baraka family and the neighboring houses following Israeli strikes east of Khan Yunis in Gaza south. Civil defense reported at least 14 others killed in multiple Israeli strikes across the territory, including at least 2 strikes which hit tents sheltering displaced people. The Israeli military has intensified its aerial bombardments and expanded ground operations in the Gaza Strip since resuming its offensive on March 18. According to the health ministry in Gaza, at least 1,691 people have been killed in Gaza since the military resumed its offensive, bringing the total death toll since the war erupted to at least 51,065.